How's it going, everyone? Taki here. I got a ton of suggestions for things to run on the Aya Neo for my last video, and I'm going to try to do my best to do as many of those as I can. Today we're going to take a look at some new and old AAA titles to see how they perform, since that was a common request that I saw in the comment section. Before we jump into the footage, I do want to address TDP in this generation, since I've now made two videos to showcase both extremes of the spectrum. As you can see on screen right now, Witcher 3 is running with a package power of 12 watts. The Aya Neo can go much higher than this, and you do get added benefit from doing so, but you're obviously going to take a huge hit to battery life. When I'm benchmarking these games for myself, I'm trying to reach 30 FPS while also maintaining at least 2 hours of battery life. This is a completely different situation if you are docked, but in my personal opinion, it's not worth spending the money that any of these devices cost in this generation to have only around 1 hour of battery life. Out of all three devices, the Win 3 charges by far the fastest, but even that device takes over an hour to charge back up to 100%, so it's not worth it. On the topic of changing TDP on the Neo, it is very easy to do, and I'll showcase how it's done on the fly right now. You just change these three values and click set, and you're good to go. I also want to mention that the Win 3 campaign has now launched, and barring any unforeseen consequences, you should start to see some initial videos of it on this channel this weekend, and I will say that the device packs a ton of power in this tiny body. I had planned on doing head-to-head videos with the GX, Aya, and the Win 3, but there is an unbelievable amount of drama going on right now that I really don't want to be in the middle of, so we're going to stick to standalone videos for the time being. The first game that we're going to take a look at is Witcher 3, and I have to emphasize that the footage that you're watching right now is at a lower internal resolution than the Win 3 clip that you just saw. Aya cannot run this game better than the Win 3 at this TDP, and I'm not trying to claim that it can, so please don't attack me. When we move over to Dark Souls 3, we don't quite have enough power to reach a solid 60 FPS at 2 hours battery life, and even if we bumped up the TDP more than I have it here, you're still not going to quite be there, and you will have to deal with the added heat and loss of battery life. The clip that you're watching right now is the Resident Evil 3 demo running at 720p with everything set to the lowest value. The Neo can perform better than what I'm showing here, but this is what you're going to get at around 2 hours of battery life.
You topside yet?
Working on it. More survivors. We've got to get that train moving. Just like Dark Souls 3, we can't really reach a solid 60 FPS with 2 hours battery life at 15 watt TDP, so I typically play this at 11 watts for added battery life while staying in the 40 to 30 FPS range. I mentioned this in my Tiger Lake video with the GX Pro, but I've wanted to play Destiny 2 on a decent handheld for a long time, but there are currently some big issues with Intel drivers at this point. They are supposed to be working on it, and I am looking forward to seeing how well this runs on Tiger Lake when it doesn't crash as much. For Far Cry New Dawn, I've bumped up the TDP to 18 watts, which can get you close to 60 FPS, but I typically play this game at 8 watts with a resolution scale of 50% for a solid 30 FPS and close to 4 hours of battery life.
You think you're big, do you?
Moving over to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and we are having to bump up the TDP to 17 watt to reach over 30 FPS in big fights. This game is very demanding on AMD and Intel, and even if you resorted to using resolution scaling, it still takes a ton of battery life to play this game well. Rise of the Tomb Raider is an oldish AAA game, but it's also one that's well optimized, and it isn't that demanding. You can play this game at a lower TDP than the one that I have here for a solid 60 FPS, but I just didn't change my TDP between the games while I was filming to make things easier.
There was something in Dad's research about this.
It was said the Prophet's tomb was hidden in the cliffs above one of the forgotten cities. Legend speaks of an oasis where the Prophet was laid to rest.
The secret entrance.
Here's another 2015 AAA title with Fallout 4, and it's also one that many people requested from my last video. I have my TDP set to 15 watt, which is enough to get 2 hours of battery life with the footage that you're seeing now.
What's all this then?
Out of all the games that I tested in this video, Monster Hunter World was the one that impressed me the most because the game runs very well at lower TDP levels. The footage on screen now is what 2 hours of battery life looks like on the Aya, and I will say that the numbers are good both in this area and inside the arena, but you can get around 3 hours of battery life with this game if you lower the TDP to the point where you are reaching a solid 30 FPS. The last game that we have for this showcase is Cyberpunk 2077, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about this game because I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I bought this game originally to run on the GX Pro, but this game is still not compatible with Intel GPUs yet, so for now this is the best that you can get in a handheld, and this is also what 2 hours of performance looks like. I hope you enjoyed this showcase. If there's anything else that you'd like to see on the Neo or any other device, feel free to leave those comments below and I'll try my best to get to them. Happy gaming everyone. Taki out.